Hello everyone! Today we are going to be making daisies. I'm making a beautiful blue poured background and some simple 3D flower heads to really make this piece come alive. Let me show you how I did it. You can find this piece for sale now on my website abcreativeofficial.com. Last week I was making a rose with glue gun on a longer canvas, and I did mention last week that since I made a green one and a red one and I am really a blue person, I was thinking of making something blue. I thought I'm going to change some media a bit. Yes, this time we'll start with pouring and then I might use some different media to make it more exciting. The colors for today, I know I said blue, but it won't be just blue, it will be every blue I managed to mix. Let me show you. That's it. I'll show you what I started with. So I started with ultramarine blue. This is probably the only one that has stayed undiluted or untinted. So that's the ultramarine. We've got phthalo blue that's already intermixed with some grey and white. Cobalt blue mixed as well, and Payne's grey. So when I mixed my colors, I started sort of pouring one into each other and I created all those different hues. Oh, there's one more thing I used. A little bit of light blue permanent by Liquitex to create this shade. Okay, so let's start with pouring. I am going to use my super amazing hairdryer. If you don't know what I mean, you will see in a minute. I still haven't changed it. I'm just keeping it. So I'm putting these and my canvas will go on top. Now what's inside? Inside is one part of paint, one part of pouring medium. My pouring medium is water and PVA glue and one part of Floetrol. But I want to say something. I've received lots of questions regarding some of the products. So the British Floetrol is different to the American one. I'll show you. So that's the Floetrol that I use. It's called Ovatrol Floetrol and it's much thicker than the American one. Therefore, some of you may have to kind of adjust your mix. Now I'll show you how it flows. So you can see it runs off the stick like this, really smooth. This is a very thin mix, and you can see the little build-up, really small. It disappears. I'm going to start with the darkest shade, somewhere in the middle. Don't have much of this one. Now this is a pretty color. I like this. Might be my dominant color. Some grey, put a bit of blue in it. I think it's going to mix nicely with the blues. So as I said, this is the color I want to see most. Now you can see my contraption. This is dangerous. It's very sharp. Don't do it. You can cut yourself. I'm very careful. Oh, this is my super thin nozzle. I am using the lowest setting. That's so pretty. Okay, now I'm thinking what to do here. I think I am going to use some of the darker blue. That was the darkest one and I do want it here. Now the bottom part. And just the corners. I didn't want to take off this section because I quite like it. Drips are very useful now. Okay, I think I'm quite happy with these dramatic blues. Oh, forgot this corner. Now I'm cleaning the mess and leaving it till tomorrow. It should be completely dry. That's the mess. Oh my goodness. Now, if you're new to my channel, I know you'll be pretty surprised. But that's just me. So what I do now, I put it back. I collect it because that will make a completely different shade of blue. And I'm sure I might use it, and I will use it in another work of mine. So I absolutely don't see the point of throwing that much paint away. Now just look at this beauty. I'm sorry, but I'm getting excited about the shades of blue. This You probably won't believe me, but this is my favorite blue. It's my favorite shade. Almost like my jumper. This is the dry background. Beautiful blues. It's really deep dark. Some sky peeping through. I think it will look awesome with whites and yellows. That's what I thought. I've been analyzing the flowers and the petals, thinking what would be the best way to replicate them. I first thought of painting, then thought of stencils, and in the end I thought, why don't we try 3D? I know you love 3D and I do, so let's try that. So here's my air drying clay that I tried once for the bluebells. I opened the pack and I put it in an airtight jar. I'm going to do one flower like this. This is a silicone mat, just making sure that there are no creases and no lumps. I do work with normal clay quite a lot, but this is the second time I'm going to use air drying clay. Making a little pancake, and I'm going to roll it flat. Just flatten it a bit. I think that's probably the right thickness. Don't want it any flatter. See that? And now I'm going to use one of my carving tools and shape the petals. That's what I'm going to do. I might flatten them a bit. That looks pretty simple, very easy. I just don't want it too perfect. I will do the mid part separately, I think, because they are like a little dome. Also, if you make something similar, I would love to see a picture. So if you could please send me via Instagram if you make something inspired by my tutorials. It's very satisfying pulling those bits away. I might do the mid part straight away. How big do we want it? Is that? Oh, that's too big. That's too big. Oh, there's lots of little dots, and the mid part is a bit sort of like an indent. Can you see that? So trying again. I think that's big enough. Okay, we'll make an indent inside. Let's find a tool to create those dots. Oh, I have this nearby that might be useful. I could have used a needle or anything sharp, the end of the pencil perhaps. That's so cool. I'm going to make some indents in the petals. You could use anything, and maybe even a couple of lines, because I think there are lines on those petals. What do you think so far? Yay! So I made a second one. This one is already partially dry. Let's make one that's partially opened or at an angle, because not all of them will be completely, facing you. I might actually trim them shorter because they won't be seen so much. So I was thinking of making them out of glue gun first, but I think that's a good choice because it's super easy, very satisfying, and I hope the results will be very nice. And again, making some indents. There are some patterns here, but I'm not sure which tool would best. These are perfectly dry, so it's time to paint them. I just brought one for reference, so I know the yellow I want to achieve. This will be a very nice, satisfying, peaceful job. I recommend a cup of tea, put some music on, or listen to something. Well, I will be painting all of these white. I love listening to various podcasts while I'm painting, so that's the time for me as well. Now these ones. I might do a second layer and do all the edges in between to make them all nice and white. There's a hint of green in that yellow, and I was looking for a very light green. I found this Brilliant Yellow Green by Liquid X. Might add just a little bit. I think I'll add it just towards the edges of the petals. That's what I'm going to do, and I'll mix it with white because there's really a small amount of green. There's hardly any. That might be even too much. I don't know, we'll see. I always go, over with white. That's not a problem. This is heavy body acrylic, very nicely pigmented. And I do want the yellow to get inside those dots. I think it's going to look really nice against the blue background. What do you think? Now I'm adding the smallest amount of orange, and I really mean a tiny amount. That's a nice sunny yellow. I've been shuffling them around. I haven't even glued those mid parts yet. I am just testing and seeing if I like the composition. They look so cool with the middle yellow thick bit, don't they? I think I'm okay with this arrangement now. What I need now is to look at some stems, look at the shapes of the stems, and please, I hope you don't get offended, but I kept, instead of throwing these flowers away, I just kept them. They are really bad shape now, but I kept them just to see how the stems grow, how they are shaped. They're kind of bendy, and those little leaves. So I'm putting them nearby, and I'll be looking at them and trying to shape my stems in a similar way. But before, I'm going to add some water here. I do want it runny. I'm taking one of these because I'm expecting that my stems will not all look perfect, and then I'll just wipe it off. And that's why I like the dry background. The poured dried background is perfect. It's like plastic coated, and you can very easily wipe it off. So let me start with this baby first. I think I want it like this. And once I'm happy with it, I can add more paint. I can even wait for it to dry and then come back to it. It's so nice when you have pouring acrylics and use your brush because it really glides so easily. Now with this one, I think I'm going to take the small one away because it's going to be easier to paint it underneath. At least my daisies are very bendy and each one is different. I'm actually surprised how happy I am with this green. I thought it would be, maybe it won't work so well, but I do like it. It's a bit like building a maze, Maybe we should start with the one on top. I'm imagining it somewhere here. This could be an offshoot of the big one. I've done the stems, so I might as well actually cover, those buds with green, because that's exactly the same color. I'll take probably a bigger brush because it will take me forever. What I'm going to do now to make it easier for everybody and more enjoyable, I actually collected some fresh daisies. Look at these. Now I am analyzing the leaves, and I'm looking, and I will replicate those little serrated leaves. I'm not going to paint them. I'm going to actually print the actual leaves. If you haven't seen me doing before, this is one of my favorite techniques. So we've got the real thing. Well, I'm sure you all know I love flowers, and I love smelling flowers, but these particular flowers, they actually smell like some old socks, which is quite funny. Alright, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to create a shade of this color for the leaves that are going to be further. I still haven't glued these, so I think I'm going to do now the leaves and then the flowers on top. I'm keeping them in place so it helps me sort of planning what I'm doing. So I'll start with this one, and with this one I am going to add a bit of black to my color. This is dry, don't worry. This is just an old plate that I mix on. Whoops, that's a lot of black. So let me mix it with my green. So these will be the leaves in the background. The leaves in the foreground are going to be lighter. And now let's start with those little ones. That's a really small one. Hope I'll manage to print it properly. So I'm covering my baby leaf. So it's so small, I might use some tweezers actually. I think they all grow kind of up. That's what we want. Just a little bit, and I am repeating it with a couple more. Might be one here. If we don't like them, I'm going to just wipe them with a napkin. They're not very pretty, those leaves, you have to admit. They are what they are. Let me see if I want some bigger ones. Yes, let's pick some bigger ones. Those veins are not very clear. That's why when I print them, we don't actually get those veins. Look, there are, I can hardly see any. It's so smooth. One is going to be here. And now I think I'm going to start adding the lighter ones. I definitely want more leaves at the bottom. And they are bigger, so smaller and then bigger. Now time for some lighter leaves. So I'm going to use this lightest paint. That's going to be really bright now. Let's see the difference between the ones in the background and this one. Oh yes, look, it's much lighter. Can you see the difference? Well, and I'll just keep adding a few more. And then time to glue the flowers. So as you can see, this is a very, very easy and satisfying technique. And you don't have to worry how to paint a proper leaf because you've just got the template, the best template you can. Now I'll start gluing those pieces together. And this is the glue I'm using. It's called Diamond Glaze. Please forgive me my nails. I've been trying to scrub them, but to no avail. Looking for the best position, and I'm going to hold it for a minute. It's not super glue, it's different, but I'm still holding it for some time. And I'm repeating the process. I'll keep them probably for a few hours, just like this, and then I'll stick them to the right positions. I'm not trying to put lots of glue, just making sure that I spread it everywhere. Of course, you could use super glue. I like when one is kind of overlapping. It looks more natural. I'm going to hold from underneath. Now, time for the big one. It's time for some shadows now. My black pouring mix, just a bit of water, diluted black. This part is, as I always say, absolutely optional. This is something I really enjoy. I like those finishing touches. As you know, they are not 3D, unlike the flowers. I want to give the impression that they are actually more 3D. I might add some shadows to some leaves as well. So this is perfect time for me to either put some music on or listen to a podcast and just enjoy myself. I think I'm finally happy with it, and I do like the stamps. Don't they look more real now? Don't they? Look. If I put this one here. I'm quite happy with how it came out. I really am looking forward to your comments. I wonder what you think. There we are. I love adding 3D and working with other media in general so much. It really adds a sense of depth. Next week I'm going to take it even further, so keep your eyes peeled. Let me know what you thought of this piece in the comments, and don't forget to check out my website too. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you again next Saturday when my new video premieres, so consider subscribing if you haven't. See you soon, bye bye!